In order to do the oil change, we're going to need some Castrol. So that's 10W40. This is the Hiflo Filtro HF204. So we're going to change the oil filter first. Then we're going to do the oil change. Very simple. What you're going to need to do this job is one of these. It's called an oil filter wrench cap, and it fits over the filter. And then we put the drive square from the torque wrench in here in order to take it off. And we'll torque it up to 26 Newton meters when refitting this. And obviously you need a sort of normal tool set. So I'm just going to be using this, which is a cheap tool set. Cost me 20 quid off Amazon, I think. It won't have all the sizes I need because I think I need a slightly bigger socket for the drain plug, but I'll show you that when we get there. But that's pretty much all you need for the job. And you need, in theory at least, you need a torque wrench. This is the torque wrench I have, and I got it from Amazon. It's called Silverline. I need it to have a 3/8 of an inch drive square, and you'll need it to go from, say, 5 Newton meters to, say, 50 Newton meters should do for most things in the lower end of the torque range. But if you haven't got a torque wrench, just borrow one off a friend because you're not going to be doing this too often. Right, so we're going to be doing an oil change today on my VFR800, which is a 2007 model. The oil's getting a little bit low, but it's also done quite a few thousand miles, around about 6,000. So the first thing to do is make sure it's on the centre stand. A little bit tough on these, but it's okay. So to do that, we're going to have to take the left-hand fairing off. So there's a screw there. There's one there. There's one down there. There's one down here. And then there's a couple here. There's one right here. And there should be one right there. They're missing at the moment, so they're put on with tie wraps, but I'm going to sort that one out. So I'll come back to you once I've got the side fairing off. So this is the best way to show you the underside of the sump due to the lighting and trying to hold the camera and all the rest of it. It's better to just take a picture and then sling it up on the screen and put some extra bits on the image so that we can talk about it. So this is the sump here. And that is the drain bolt there, and on top of the drain bolt, on the underside of the bolt flange, is the washer which sits in between obviously the sump itself and the flange of the bolt. The Honda part numbers for it, so if you type those into eBay, if you were to need either one of those, or you go to a big dealer like Fowler's in Bristol or something like that, you'll be able to go and get those things. It's highly unlikely you'll need another bolt. It's more likely, if anything, that you might need a new washer if it was leaking. But I've never changed the washer, ever. So when I put it back in, I just either put some oil around it or let the oil that it's already in, because it usually drops in the bowl, do the seal. And I have never had a leak yet. I think the torque settings are something like 29 Newton meters, but you'd have to go and check that in the either on manual if you've got a manual. I never do it, at least certainly not 30 Newton meters. If that's what it is, or 29. I normally do it just over 23, something like that. I do it, and I feel that's tight enough for me personally. And in order to get that out and to do it back up again, you will need a socket. So we've got a 17mm socket, these long, thin sockets. So hopefully that deals with mechanics of that in terms of what's needed, numbers and stuff like that. When you come to drain it, what I normally do is get the torque wrench on it, because it's normally a torque wrench that I use, and then just loosen it off just slightly. Once it's just beginning to loosen, that you could actually turn it with your fingers, then I take the torque wrench off because I don't want it covered in oil, and I just obviously make sure the bowl is underneath it and just undo it until it comes out. And you just have to watch it then. I'll wait. As you can see, it's all draining out into the bowl, nice and black. 6,000 miles of dirty oil. So we'll wait for that to finish and then we'll take the oil filter off. Okay, we're going to put this new oil filter in there, but first of all, I'm going to dab some oil around the rubber seal just to make it stick. It's going to be difficult to film this, but I'll try. So we're going to have to get the old one out. We'll just rotate it to the left. See all the oil coming out all over the gaff, all over the pipes. That'll be nice later when we get a load of smoke coming off it. So let's see if I can get this out without dropping it. into the bowl? Probably not. Let's see. Damn. Come on, come on. Oh, damn. That's normally par for the course. Oh no, what a mess. There you go, that's the way it goes, that's the way we roll. So let's try and get the new one in. Get it through the gap. Oh, this is such a pain. I'm sure every time I do this, I find the knack to do it the first time around. Then coming to the next oil change, I've forgotten again. But I do get it in at the end. So obviously I've ended up torquing it off camera. So I torqued up at 26 Newton meters and then cleaned it. Right, so let's fill her up. Nice bit of funnel action here. We can probably get almost all of the 4 litres in, and I think it'll be fine. So once we got this oil in, or most of it in, we're going to put the filler cap back on, start the bike up, let it run for a couple of minutes, allow the oil to come through the filter, and that way we can make sure it all goes in properly. Takes a little while to do this, but it's not really that bad altogether in the great scheme of things, is it? Right, so nearly there now, almost at the end. There's a little bit left in the bottom. Right, so it's been a couple of minutes. Let's have a look at the levels. Yeah, it looks just a tiny bit over the line, but that's fine. Looks good.
Okay, the engine's on and the oil's dropped out of the level, which is normal. So we're going to let it go through the filter for a couple of minutes, let it warm up, and then we'll let it go back down, the oil level go back down, and then we'll check it again. You can probably see there's some smoke coming out of the exhaust, because that's the oil that's dropped on the exhaust at the moment. But that will burn up in a couple of minutes, and the drain plug is looking slightly oily, but that's residue from before, and that will also burn off. Yeah, you can probably see there's smoke all over the place at the moment. This is normal after an oil change. So we're at 42 degrees, 43 degrees at the moment. We'll wait for that to come up to about 50 to 60, and then I'll clean everything up, take a look at the levels again, and if it's okay, I'll just close her up, and that'll be job done. We'll get the fairing back on.
Some time has passed. So I stopped the bike, I waited for 3 minutes, and then I checked the oil level through the indicator panel, and it looks just fine. It's just marginally below the top line, so that's excellent. Well, I hope you found this video useful and informative, and if you did, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.